Hi guys, it's Mrs. Palmer. We are gonna finish Dinosaurs Before Dark today. So if you remember yesterday, that Tyrannosaurus Rex chased Jack and Annie, and this treehouse started to spin and spin and spin. And then the last two sentences of chapter 9 were this, and then I'll carry on. Then everything was still, absolutely still. Ooh, here we go. Chapter 10, Home Before Dark. A bird began to sing. Jack opened his eyes. He was still pointing at the picture of Frog Creek Woods. He peeked out the treehouse window. Outside, he saw the exact same view. "We're home," whispered Annie. The woods were lit with a golden late afternoon light. The sun was about to set. No time had passed since they'd left. "Jack! Annie!" a voice called from the distance. "That's Mom," said Annie, pointing. Jack saw their mother far away. She was standing in the front of their house. She looked very tiny. "Annie! Jack!" she called. Annie stuck her head out the window and shouted, "Coming!" Jack still felt dazed. He just stared at Annie. "What happened to us?" he said. "We took a trip in a magic tree house," said Annie simply. "But it's the same time as when we left," said Jack. Annie shrugged. And how did it take us so far away?" said Jack. "And so long ago." "You just looked at the book and you said, 'I wish we could go there,'" said Annie. "And the magic tree house took us there." "But how?" said Jack. "Who built this magic tree house? Who put all these books there?" "A magic person, I guess," said Annie. "A magic person? Oh, look," said Jack. "I almost forgot about this." He reached into his pocket and pulled out the gold medallion. "Someone lost this back there in Dinosaur Land. Look, it has the letter M on it." Annie's eyes got round. "You think the M stands for magic person?" she said. "I don't know," said Jack. "I just know that someone went there before us." "Jack! Annie!" came the distant cry again. Annie poked her head out of the window. "Coming!" she shouted. Jack put the gold medallion back in his pocket. He pulled the dinosaur book out of his pack and put it back with the other books. Then he and Annie took one last look around the treehouse. "Goodbye, house," whispered Annie. Jack slung his backpack over his shoulder and he pointed at the ladder. Look, guys, here you can see there's the treehouse and there's Annie and Jack's house. There's Mom way off in the distance. Annie started down. Jack followed. Seconds later, they hopped onto the ground and they started walking out of the woods. "No one is going to believe our story," said Jack. "So let's not tell anybody," said Annie. "Dad won't believe it," said Jack. "He'll say it was a dream," said Annie. "Mom won't believe it," said Jack. "He'll say it was pretend," said Annie. "My teacher won't believe it," said Jack. "She'll say you're nuts," said Annie. "We'd better not tell anyone," said Jack. "Already said that," said Annie. Jack sighed. "I think I'm starting to not believe it myself," he said. They left the woods and started up the road toward their house. As they walked past all the houses in their street, the trip to Dinosaur Time did seem more and more like a dream. Only this world and this time seemed real. Jack reached into his pocket. He clasped the gold medallion. He felt the engraving of the letter M. It made Jack's finger tingle. Jack laughed. Suddenly, he felt very happy. He couldn't explain what had happened today, but he knew for sure that their trip in the magic tree house had been real, absolutely real. "Tomorrow," Jack said softly, "we'll go back to the woods." "Of course," said Annie. "We'll climb up the tree house," said Jack. "Of course," said Annie. "And we'll see what happens next," said Jack. "Of course," said Annie. "Race you!" and they took off together, running for home. Wow, this was a great book, Dinosaurs Before Dark by Mary Pope Osborne. It's a whole series, and I think I'll read some more. But next week, I think we're going to switch gears and start Junie B. Jones by Barbara Park and the Stupid Smelly Bus. Let's find out what happens next week. Have a great weekend.